Ye are what? The children of one Father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you son. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy blood, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house.
Brother Reggie, it's all yours.
Peace, family. I want to say Ankh Waz Jed. This is in the Meta Necha, which is life. Ankh Waz Jed, which is life, power, and stability. I want to say Dua Netaru. That is Hail Netaru. That is giving high honors to the stuff that created us all. I want to say Hotep Dinosut. That is an offering to the state. At one time in our world, we had a state called Kemet. It was a state. It ruled the world for over 5,000 years, for over 5,000 years. I want to give thanks to my Seba'us. Those are my teachers. I have one of my teachers here, Professor James Small, who had mentioned that he has been here with 18 years. And before I even continue this line, I have to ask him, do I have permission to speak? So we follow protocol in our world. In the black movement, the African movement has been a movement that has been pushed under largely because of religion. These people come from a continent of Africa, and everybody and everything has come to feast on our food.
That's right. That's right.
And it is easy to look eloquent and to speak eloquent, but to leave out the murder of your mothers and fathers. Who will speak for them? Yeah. This first round is about identity. We respect the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, but we respect all of our prophets, not just one, but all of them, because many came before him and many came after them. We give high honors to people like Elijah Muhammad, who was the messenger of Allah, right? In Muhammad Speaks, right? That's similar to, I guess, the Moorish guide. He was the messenger of Allah, right? And we give high honors to Malcolm X, and we give high honors to the Prophet Khalid Abdul Muhammad, who said, before anything, I'm black first. That's what he said. Now, the reason why we're here is because people who articulate often put words in our teachers' mouths about what they were talking about. And they do it often when they're dead. But years ago, there was a lecture, the first big Moorish lecture between the General Sarah Sultan Seti and Anael-Bey. And Brother Sharif Anael-Bey came up at the end. Maybe he didn't like what Anael-Bey did when the general masterfully, tactfully led our people to victory, at least shine the light on African people. And he came up and he said something like, are you a Moorish American? Or you a member of the Moorish American? Do you pay dues or something similar like that? I'm going to have to ask my Moorish brothers, because there's something going on in our communities. I've spoken to more than 5 or 7 different types of Moors, and they all say different things. But you all look the same, but you say different things.
Ooh, 1 minute.
So I have to ask you all, your grand body in Chicago, did you give this brother permission to speak? I just need a hand from a grand sheik or a governing sheik. Did you give this man permission from your grand organization? Because this is an important deciding debate. Is there any more? Or maybe someone else should ask for me, because maybe you don't love me. You're not practicing peace, love, and friendship. Is there any more from Chicago? Or is there any high more that has given him national attention or privilege to speak today?
We all did.
Okay.
20 seconds.
That's fine, because all we're asking is protocol. Many of those other Moors that went to speak with me, some of you don't like, or you say different things about it. So I just wanted to check, because I asked my elder for permission. Ain't that fair? So if you all did, then fine.
All right, let's give it up for Brother Reggie. All right, now, again, I'm going to go to my brother Sharif Anael-Bey. You have 5 minutes, brother.
Islam! 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 Brother asked if I have permission.
What do you mean, Mo?
The first thing we always do, you want to talk about protocol and permission, is that we give praise.
That's right.
The first thing we do, we give praise to the Almighty,
Yes, sir. Yes.
eternal, and incomprehensible. But he ain't no spook.
That's right. That's right, Mo.
He's closer to you than your jugular vein.
That's right.
And that unites all of us in here, whether you got a vest or turban on or not.
That's right. That's right. Come on. Yes, sir.
We call him Allah, but he's known by many other names too. We don't trip on that.
Bring it out.
We also give honor to the one that brought us that deep knowledge. And to us as Moorish Americans, he was an angel sent from Allah to bring us what? The everlasting gospel of Allah. That's Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You don't gotta be, you don't have to accept him as your prophet. It's okay.
That's right.
It's okay.
That's right.
That's okay. That's all. My sole purpose here today, Brother Reggie is my brother.
Right.
If you were watching the pre-debate interviews, you heard me say a number of times, I'm not against my brother.
That's right. That's right.
We have a covenant. A covenant is a contract.
That's right.
And we call it the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nations. That's everybody in this room.
That's right. That's right.
Now I'll just say the one verse, and if you don't want to say it with me, you can say it with me.
That's sir.
Ye are what? The children of one Father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you suck. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when you separate into the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger to thine own blood. If thy brother's in adversity, assist him. If thy sister's in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of our Father contribute to the support of his whole and his care be continued to you all. In your love, through your love to each other. We love Brother Reggie. That's right. We love Brother Reggie. We thank Brother Reggie for calling me out. See, he wants to talk about whether I got permission or not. The man called me out by name. You call, we come. Yes. We have a saying in Islam. We're Muslims. We don't pick the fight, but we definitely finish it.
Right,
my martial arts instructor says it this way. Never sell, but if somebody's selling, you buy.
Teach boy.
We're going to buy you out, bro, today.
Islam.
Just that simple. We're going to buy you out today. We're going to take everything. But we thank Brother Reggie. I'm going to tell you the main reason why we thank Brother Reggie. He talked about disunity in the Moorish Temple of America. We say it's a human problem, because there's disunity everywhere. But since he brought up the Moorish Temple of America, let me show you something. Our prophet said, you've torn up everything that's been brought to you, talking about our people. He said, but I brought you something that you can't tear up. It'll tear you up. That's right. This organization, despite the foolishness, despite the craziness, for 103 years, is still here.
That's right.
Still here. So we thank Brother Reggie. I'm going to tell you why we thank Brother Reggie. This is why we thank Brother Reggie. 1 minute. Thank you. That which is understood need not be explained. That which is understood need not be explained. All you got to do is look in the room. Look how many fests and turbans you see.
That's right.
Look how many, and they all come from New York. People spent their money. That's how you know somebody's heart is there. They spent their money just to be here amongst their brothers and sisters. That's love.
That's right, Mo.
And that ain't just love for those with fezes and turbans. That's love for you too.
Yes, sir.
You might want to get some of that. Peace.
All right. Okay, so we had the introduction, which is the preliminary round from our brother Reggie and our brother Sharif. All right, so now, I want to let you guys know this before I take my jacket off. All right, there's no ad hominem attacks. There is no name calling. You want to keep this strictly on information.
Peace,
all right? What you would know on the phone. There's no need for you to throw nobody's names, degrade anybody, or anything like that. We're not going to bring down any of our elders in the building, whether they're alive or they're passed. We're going to respect the elders as well as one another. All right? That's not taken away from the dynamics of the debate, because we're charismatic people. We can do so, but we can do so respectfully. All right? Now, if any one of these individuals comes outside of that, I will blow a whistle, which is a penalty. All right, because we're not playing today. All right, we want to get strictly with the information so that the people can get it, go home, dissect it, and absorb what they can. All right, so you guys are aware. So if you hear multiple whistles, then that means that whoever's speaking is not following the rules. All right, and if they violate it 3 times, I'm cutting their time. I'm not playing games. All right, this is for you guys. All right. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna let my brother Reggie Mabry start off. He has 40 minutes for his dissertation. This is the thesis round. He's gonna address the points as well as whatever the context is and content of his presentation. And after he's done, we're gonna go to my brother Sharif Anael-Bey. All right, you ready, brother Reggie? All right, here you go.
Peace. Black power. Black power. Black power. Look at this side of the room. Black power. Black power. Black power. I smell disunity between our people. Right? And the world is watching. Right? Now, when we come across the other organizations like the Nation of Islam and we say black power, they say black power. When they say assalamu alaikum, we say assalamu alaikum. When we come across the Hebrews and they say shalom, we say shalom. If they say yahai shah, we say yahai shah. Right? If we come to our grandmothers in their houses during grace and they say amen, we all say amen, right? Don't tell me about unity, right? Because we have to make a choice today on identity. That's right. Fallen humanity. Their job is to raise the fallen humanity. My Moor opponents have oversimplified their arguments of who are the Moors to fit their religious beliefs, but not history, science, social science, methodology, and logic itself. My argument will explore these oversimplifications. An organized lie defeats a disorganized, but to cure this paradigm, one must use the scientific method to make the truth organized to defeat the organized lie. We're not perfect. Are all our prophets perfect? But why do we make them perfect? The Moorish background, ethnic origins, and an overview of their historical impact. This is from Dr. Jose V. Pimenta Bey. He is a PhD, and he is one of Ali's men, and he is a great speaker and an intelligent person who the world respects. He outlines basically what the Moorish Quran says. And basically simplifying it, right? He draws an outline from Canaan to Moabite, who are the Moors, who are Moroccans, which is the modern name for the Moabite, to Moorish Americans, along with the phenotype type of olive skin and the statement we all have the same father and the mother. I assert that this statement is wrong and untrue, and it's causing divisions. And I'm going to do it by science. He also says, this quote, I'm just putting it from his book, which you should buy his book, Othello's Child. Othello, okay, that's fine. Othello's children, Othello is a fictitious person, and so his children must be fictitious. So if you want me to say it, I'm going to get it right. Right? So I'm going to talk about fictitious. If you want to correct me, don't play with me. The circle 7 Holy Quran outlines the inhabitants of Africa or the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. Let's do this all by science, because you're going to have to prove it with science, right? Not with your rhetoric and not with your speeches and your memorized, well-memorized indoctrination. You're going to have to prove it to black people with science.
Talk to him, Reggie.
Africa, Canaan, and Arabia. Canaan is not, and the Levant is not in Africa. There's the African mother continent. It broke off to the Sinai plate to the Arabian plate. That's not Africa. There it goes in this period, because you do science, right? In this particular period, the Cenozoic continental breakup produced several ribs, etc., etc., etc. The continental breakup occurred 65 million years ago. Humans were not on the planet. Just go fix that. Defining the admix, glossary of terms. This is from the glossary of genetic terms. Admixture arises when two previously isolated populations begin interbreeding. I hope you know where I'm going. I hope you know where I'm going, because I'm going. Let's just not go all the way back and try to decide everything in the world about evolution. Let's just talk about Homo heidelbergensis, a group of men that was in both Africa and went into Europe, right? Early archaic man. And when he was in Africa, he gave birth to the Homo sapiens. When he was in Europe, he gave birth to the Homo neanderthal. He also gave birth to this other archaic called the Denisovans. And then there's the hobbits. I hope y'all studied this. I hope y'all studied this. Okay, so here's a source right here. I translated it from Google Translate. Basically, the Homo heidelbergensis is 700,000 years ago. I translated it from German, so some of this stuff won't be. But that's okay, because I have Chris Stringer. These are European. I'm sorry. These are Europeans, and guess what? They're Moors. Right? Europeans are Moors. We're going to show you how this works. Matter of fact, Sharif Bey said that the Caucasian is the amalgamated Moor. He said that, but he was right. And you asked me, why didn't I do anything or speak badly to the elder? First, we're trained not to do that. Second, he was correct. And he gave me what I wanted. These Europeans that I'm talking about, Chris Stringer, they Moors. Heidelbergensis, Homo rhodesian, that is what they call Heidelbergensis in Africa. There's my source. Look it up. Oldest human skull of Africa found in Canaan, 55,000 years ago. I thought I had a quote from Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Somehow that disappeared. But Dr. Wesley Muhammad and both Jose Pimenta Bay talk about the Africoid, and the Africoid, it says, yet many Eurocentric Western scholars' treatments have attempted to de-Africanize the Moors and de-emphasize their connection to Africa. But after a critical interdisciplinary evaluation of Moorish identity, it is evident that the term Moor justifiably designates a phenotypical Africoid people or person with ancient links to both East Africa and Near Asia. So we're getting to this Asiatic person. And that's Asia, that's there right there in the Sinai plate and Arabia. We're going to get to that. Okay. So here we go. Behold the pale Moor. The new truth in genetic sequencing. Start Googling it. Just Google. Why did you bring your laptops and stuff? Oh, you don't need it because you're going to use a religious book on me. Not today. Savante Pabo. This Moor. Oh, he's a Moor. He says, what he did was he sequenced the Neanderthal DNA, he sequenced the human DNA, and then he sequenced the Denisovan DNA, and he found out that they interbred. Oh, I'm sorry. Raising fallen humanity? That's fallen humanity. That's our destruction. I'm going to tell you why. Ancestors of modern humans interbred with extinct hominids, study finds. Carl Zimmer, New York Times. Recently, March 17, 2016. I know y'all don't read the papers. Right? The best explanation for these patterns, I'm just going to skip over this. Just because of time, let me see if I can do this. Neanderthals, I'm going to listen to this more for a second.
And one question that you may then want to ask is, what happened after that? Did we mix or not? And the way to ask that question is to look at the Neanderthal that comes from Southern Europe and compare the genomes of people who live today. So we then look to do this in pairs of individuals, starting with two Africans, looking at the two African genomes, finding places where they differ from each other, and in each case ask, what is the Neanderthal? Does it match one African or the other African? We would expect it to be no difference because Neanderthals were never in Africa. They should be equal, have no reason to be closer to one African than when modern humans came out of Africa sometime after 100,000 years.
Neanderthals were not in Africa. Oh, that's going to be a problem for you.
It then mixed with each other there, and those modern humans that became the ancestors of everyone outside Africa carried with them this Neanderthal component in their genome for the rest of the world.
Oh, they mixed outside of Africa, in the Middle East, Canaan, and then created all the other races. That's how it happened, basically around a period of starting about 60,000 years ago. Modern human goes out into the Levant, and then, or he also tries to go out during the Arabia side. Ultimately, at some point, they met the Neanderthals, and they mixed. And this happened out of Africa. Neanderthals were never in Africa. Oh. Evaluating Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA from the genomes of Malaysian individuals. This is 3/16/2016. They talk about modern humans, all non-African populations. Canaanite, derive 2% of their ancestry from Neanderthals, whereas subsequent levels of Denisovan ancestries, 2 to 4, are only found in oceanic populations. Although low levels of Denisovan ancestry may be more widespread, recently catalogs of. My point is, the Neanderthals, anything out of Africa has 2% Neanderthal. What does that mean? 5 matings for moderns, Neanderthal. Science 18, March 2016. I know y'all didn't read this for this debate, because you're going to have to pull a rabbit out the fez for this one. So, Neanderthals, it says that Neanderthals, or a second kind of archaic human called Denisovans, met and mated. The researchers conclude that if you are East Asian, you have 3 different Neanderthals in your family. Europeans and South Asians have 2, Malaysians only 1. And African ancestors who did not mate with Neanderthals have none. I understand. There is a slide from Harvard University. You can take that down. The not-so-secret life of our inner Neanderthal. I'm not talking about the African. I'm talking about the Canaanite. I'm talking about everybody in that area. Today, so here we go. Behold, the Africoid, the moral origin and origin of the destruction of black civilization. Here are the African, there are the non-Africans, and those non-Africans admixed with the Moors, those non-Africans interbred with the Neanderthals, and they produced the Caucasoid, the Northeast Asian, the Arctic Asian, American, and Southeast Asia, the New Guinea and Australian, and maybe, not maybe, definitely the Arab. I just made a mistake and didn't put that down. But definitely the Asiatic man, it's definitely the Asiatic black man, but he's non-African, he's mixed with the Neanderthal. And the Africans, they're not mixed with the Neanderthals. There was none in. So here are the great Moorish civilizations. You like to claim all of these people and say, we're all Moors. Everybody was a Moor. Yes, if you was out of Africa and you bred with Neanderthals, you are a Moor. And there you go. The Neolithic Anatolia, Neolithic Syria, Canaan, Elam, Mesopotamia, India. Shout out to Ismail Bey and his India stuff. He's admixed Moor with Neanderthal. Ugandan, Yellow River, Basin, New Guinea, Americas, etc. I gotta move. Behold, the Africoid in Canaan. Skull discoveries suggest location where humans first had sex with Neanderthals. Skull found in northern Israel, Cain in western Galilee. Cain. Oh, there's the Manat Cave. I'm just going to go through just some clips, and they're recently dated. Human-Neanderthal cohabitation in the Levant. It talks about the earliest skulls. Now we're going to unpack the biblical record. Now these are reconstructions of the Moroccan man. Here's a Moroccan man before he left Africa. He interbred with the Neanderthal woman out. But no, she their sister. Don't be disrespecting their sister. I mean, there's Israel, who's the African who went into Canaan, and that's the sister. Interbred, I found a dark-skinned Neanderthal to help the case. So here are the places where they interbred. Basically, there you go. The biblical record, using only as oral history, Goliath was an admixture Neanderthal. He was a Nephilim. Why does the Bible talk about Nephilims? What are they really talking about? They're doing early paleontology. They're doing early oral history. Goliath was intermixed with a Neanderthal. Have y'all figured that out? Goliath. Interesting about Goliath. Anyway, here's from the Bible. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, etc., etc. You can read that. I'm not going to read all the Bible stuff. Those are the biblical records. So the Bible is talking about Nephilims, but the Bible is really an evolution document. You just read it wrong. Oh, the story of the sons of God interbreeding with the daughters of men is an admixed story recorded in the Bible. Descendants of Anak were Canaanites. Goliath was a Canaanite. There's the Neanderthal range. The biblical record, again, King James Bible, and they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land, I'm reading, you know how they say read, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants, cannibals. And all the people we saw in it are men of great stature. The Nephilim, the admixed human being. There was also, we saw the Nephilim, Neanderthal admixed human being in Canaan. The sons of Anak are part of the Nephilim, and we became like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so were in their sight. The biblical and archaeological record is similar, so Africoid admixed Moors record includes admixed. This one is interesting from this Bible source. While Noah and his sons were 100% human, we are not told the same about the wives of his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So in the Bible, these people are human, but their wives carry the Nephilim seed. We didn't know it was the Neanderthal seed. The sons of God, the daughters of men, why the world needs to be wiped out, the extinction of the Nephilim. More on the Bible, just for the record, you could read it. Admixed males sterile, DNA passed on females of both hybrid and human females. I hope you was listening to Dr. Ma's presentation because she was doing science, right? So here we have a problem where Neanderthal women are admixing in Canaan and giving birth, but we will probably have a problem with human women mixing with Neanderthal because their pelvic is too small and they can't get out them big babies. So we're going to move on. Oh, the Neanderthal genome linked to medical and phenotypical characteristics. Oh, the Neanderthal gave the human in Canaan phenotypical characteristics. The Africoid, that's why they're not African. They're Africoid. Moors, the redhead and blue eyes. I said that. That wasn't attributed to the title. But Neanderthals contribute to hair and eyes of modern man. This is an unlocked secret. Sure, all mammals in the sun develop melanin in their skin and they have different shades of melanin. But that doesn't explain the hair in the eyes. They come from Neanderthal DNA. You didn't know that. Neanderthal human sex bred light skins and infertility. Again, so we have an issue of skin now. Some attributes of skin or variant type of skin, like the olive skin, connected somehow to the Neanderthal.
20 minutes.
Caucasians are the amalgamated Moors. You heard Sharif Bey. Amalgamate to mix, to merge, or to make a combination, to blend, unite, combine, to amalgamate two companies. Yeah, the Neanderthal and the Homo sapiens sapien, and the resulting people are the amalgamated Moors. Hard fossil evidence. You can do that. Wikipedia, important study that rebuts arguments of Neanderthals in Africa. They actually, doing the scientific method, what we do, Dr. Mahd, is we go and find a report that tries to debunk a theory that we have, right? So and guess what, it failed. But you can read that. Tracing the root of modern humans out of Africa using 225 human genome sequences from Ethiopians and Egyptians. They wanted to know what Africans came out and intermixed. So there's this big argument that the Ethiopians go through the Arabian plate, or was the ancient people of Kemet? Well, this study says it's the ancient people of Kemet. All of this you can look up. I'm talking to the people in our audience that use the scientific method, that want to study, right? That I respect all their religions, but who want to see for themselves, because I'm answering some questions about. Okay, so I got to move on. I wanted to talk about language, did they speak or not in Canaan, but I want to just say, original people of Africans have no Neanderthal DNA. Your people, ancient Africoid Canaanites, Moabites, Moors, and so-called Moorish culture have Neanderthal DNA. I'm also talking about your Native American peoples. I see you, Wichita Moors. You think that you just walked from Africa or Canaan without connecting to the Denisovans. No, you're admixed. So, there's your whole Bible story, and this is the great admixture. And guess what? We have to ask some theological questions. Why would God, we're so religious, admix their people and prophets with Neanderthals? Is your God or your prophet amalgamated, more admixed, is the one that you believe in actually a Neanderthal? See, science was trying to break this out, but you'll see something in Time magazine about God, Jesus, and the Neanderthals. I'm just doing it for you. Quranic records, we know that they're from Ad. We're not leaving them out. African scientists and thinkers now have to change their origin stories of the other phenotypical groups of human races that are mistakenly called races. religion can't change the noble Drawley doctrine of origins is wrong. I don't care how much religion you're going to do. If you don't get up here with science, you lose. The Asiatic black man is not the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet, earth, God of the universe. I'm going to tell you right now, see, I love the Nation of Islam because they gave themselves out because they wrote Message to the Black Man, right? They love our people. They said this Asiatic black man sounds good, but this might be a sinking ship. So they can continue their religion, just be black. Just like Khalid Muhammad said, before anything else, I'm black. He came from a school. I know that you have adept studies and you study esoterical. You better bring some science today. The Yakub story dies today. The admixed Neanderthal and Homo sapiens, called by many names, Nephilim and now more, and his offspring of phenotypes is the culprit to the destruction of African civilization. The Diop Grimaldi man's theory today is revised because he couldn't deal with admixed. Maybe because our great elder had a marital issue. He just couldn't deal with that. But it is revised today with modern genetics. And also, he didn't have the information. The Francis Cress Wilson theory of white origin of albinos must be shelved today. Okay, so let's get to the Americans. So here is the Y DNA haplogroup, right? And then you see over there how they originate and how they're labeled. They emerge first in Africa, then they emerge over there in Canaan and the rest of the place, and then they walk themselves later to Africa as the Berbers, the North African Mediterranean. They intermix, it's called admixing again, with the African population, and then you see the J1 Semitic, right? So we see this walk that DNA don't lie. Better have a DNA slide up there. So here we go with this slide of the different periods of how people became people in different skins and different races. I'm sorry, behold the pale Moor again. I just have to put out that Neanderthal range. Why am I doing this? Because the African on the continent is the human, the 100% Homo sapiens sapiens, the maker of us all. And we now, to justify European insanity, have been sent into an admixed hell, where we are all to be admixed. And all we want to do, Professor, is save these people right here, who were the first humans, who gave us humanity. That's what we want to save, Africa and their people, because in 1,000 years there will not be an African. Little, I don't know what you call them, but these people 1,000 years ago, they'll be talking about their African ancestors with pride, but we have theologies that murder African people. That's right. Slave rule. Here's the slave rule. We are Moroccan Americans. Okay, well, the slave rule is the 1501 to 1867. It's beautiful, right? Yes. They came from Senegambia, Sierra Leone, coast, Brida Benin, Biafra, West Central Africa. I don't see no ships leaving from Morocco. Right? So the largest population of who we are come from West Central Africa. Here's a chart, I don't have too much time. You don't see on this side it says North and Central, this is the maps. We are North and Central, we are more like West and Central Africa. That's where we come from. That's DNA. Again, I want to talk about the Denisovan. This is the Denisovan map, or where the Denisovans and the Neanderthals interbred. And I just want to say, Ivan Van Sertima is a great scholar, but them Olmec heads, most likely they were mixed, admixed people, not direct Africans. We have to revise that. Easter Island. So if you want to debunk me, you still have to use the scientific method. You still have to use classifications. You have to use phenotype, genetic scholarship, published work, Asian. You have to explain the root of the Asian, Indian, Arab, and Caucasian, and why they did not emerge in Africa. That DNA, that Canaanite DNA. Now, I wanted to say real quick, I don't have a lot of time. How much time do I have? I have 12 minutes. Okay, so I'll get through some of this. And 5 minutes grace. Good. wonderful. So I'll get back to this. You better bring me a Moabite earlier than 6,500 years. I'm sorry, this Moabite looks like who I'm talking about. You better bring me a fossil find. I want to tell you something else about the Moabites. We know much about the Moabites that we could, but we do know their civilization ended in 582 when Moab became part of the Babylonian Empire. That's when the Moab civilization ended. So it's interesting. Okay. We also know that the people who took the land was the Nabateans. Shout out to Dr. Ali Muhammad. I know he's a little upset. I know he's working his computer right now to bang me up because he's the only person who's an Islamic scientist. The rest of you is like he said before, you Islamic believers.
Reggie, don't forget, Reggie. One of your teachers are. Dr. Jeffries in the building.
From the eyes of Rome, let's just deal with the people that they say the Maury Empire. Well, the Maury Empire, you know, they had gods. They called the Maury, right? And then we're going to look at the Moabite gods, Ashtar. And then we're going to look over here of Berber and other African people who were beginning to be admixed. But we're showing this to show lineage. Keys of civilization. Instead of finding ancient Moabites, we find ancient Kemet. Oh, someone said that the Asians or the Canaanites have the key to civilization. They took it. All of this Kemet and Moab, these are artifacts found in Moab. Oh, Mur. I know someone that likes to talk about the Nurs, the Nars, right? And that some Moors say that Nermer was a Moor. Okay. The fighting catfish, first unified North Sud of Kemet. Oh, this is Chemosh. This is a Moabite deity, an important one. The subduer, the fish god. Oh, we go back to the normal play palette, and guess what we find? Plagiarism. We see the Moabites making their god Chemosh out of an African man named Nermer. Nermer was an African man, and the admixed Moabites are taking an African man and making him a god. But you got a problem with black, right? That's a black African that you borrowed in your philosophy, because guess what? You brothers are us and sisters. Prove it. There it goes. Today, there is the Chemosh in 9th BC, and this is 3100 BC. You do the math. Oh, Islam. I'm so sorry. Here you have Aluza, Al-Lat, and Manat. But they are so similar to Kemetic deities, a Set, it could be Het Heru. Where do y'all get them 8? And that's still happening out of Africa. Who has the keys to civilization? We do, because we study. So we can walk through history, and we can walk how the Muslims or the Arabs or those admixed groups of people marched their way into Africa. And so I laid it all out for you to study. The important thing about it is none of them are talking about Moab. None. None of them are saying that they came from Moab. What they're saying is they're Muslim. They derive from the Prophet Muhammad, from his lineage. So our people in Americans are not Moroccans. We just sentenced to an admixed hell. They're the Y haplogroups of the world. And you see how this is genetics and science. You can work that out. So there's some other things I want to say. The Israelites, because I heard the Moors and the Israelites are getting together, but the Israelites say that you all had an incestuous relationship. You all don't have no problem with them, right? You have a problem with us. The African from Kemet recorded their occurrences with the Canaanites and the Asians, with the admixed. That's what they look like in the records, on the temple walls, coming into Africa. We have a full list of the contact. Can't do all of that today. And then we even search, where do we find Moab? Is Moab even mentioned? We know Canaan, and we know, Pharaohs gave permission to the Moabites. Yeah, okay, fine. We go and we search to find Moab in our glyphs, and this is for y'all. Y'all can record it. Moab is right over here. Yeah, it was conquered. It's conquered by Africans. Here we have a city, Dibon, which is an important city, and there it goes here. Okay, it's there. I have to go and look for it. That's primary. You better show me some artifacts. Show me some artifacts when you talk, all right? I'll believe you then. Again, Moab, and here is Moab in Kemet material in Moab. They all look like people from Nile Valley. Oh, there's Tahuti there. And here's this interesting piece I'm going to talk to. Oh, the Beilu. I mean, Lord Alba, he loves to talk about this. This is where this shows we're getting permission from the pharaohs. That's fine. Show it to me on Luxor Wall, on Karnak Wall, and I'll believe it. Otherwise, I believe that some great artist connected to the mystery schools wrote that. Here we have over here is, I think, Canaan right here. So we know Kemet knows all about Kemet. Kemet knows all about Moab. Oh, you see this right here? This is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. How many people went with me to the Metropolitan Museum of Art? And I showed you this right here? Well, guess what? This right here is Phoenician. They taught the Phoenicians how to write. They borrowed our material. This is our stolen legacy. Oh, let's do Carthage. Ankh, Crescent. It's coming from Kemet, Ankh and Crescent, right? See it? Better show me some artifacts. Here's early Islam, right? Here is basically a salat, and here is a crescent circle. This is important. This stone right here is because this is where the god Chemosh basically murders 1,000 Israelites. Since y'all want to build some unity, I mean, you can, but it's there right there. Chieftain dragging before him Chemosh and Kerosh, I settled 3 men. What it says, and I took from there Yahweh, dragging them before Chemosh, and the king of Israel had built Jahaz. He dwelt there while he was fighting against me. But Chemosh drove him out before me, etc. You can read that. There's Dibon that I talked about right there. What am I missing? So here's the Baals. Oh, this is more by goddess Ashereth. This is a Canaanite goddess. Looks very similar to Kemet. Here's another Moabite goddess. Oh, looks like Heru. Oh, shoot. What did I do? So then we have, we have to show some feathers. That wouldn't be right if I did not. How much minutes do I have? Okay, great. So, I do want to say, okay, it's probably, okay. Okay. I wanted to make this point. Dr. Jose V. Piamenta Bey, very shrewd scholar. Is he here today? Is he here? Okay. He made this argument that, one of the Islamic groups was Moabites. He definitely attempted to do that. I just wanted to say that this article right here is argued in this paper, trying to see if they were the biblical descendants of Moab in the 12th century. The Almoravids are called Moabites. And so this person took it upon himself, this scholar, because that's how you get a PhD, right? You argue a problem, right? And he basically found out, he looked at the genealogy and he basically found out that they had no connection. You can read the paper. Now, the Africans who converted to Islam were not Moabites. So here the African gives themselves, well, at least the problem is Arabs or Arabized people are telling the story, but they at least say the first of the kings who ruled over it was these people, and these 14 kings all died before the coming of Islam. So we know that African people were around river valleys. So chapter 47 of the Holy Quran, the inhabitants of Africa, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan, old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa. His father Ham, the descendants were second. Then came the word Ethiopia. And then my opponents must show that only Africans that are in the New World are descendants of Morocco and descendants of Moabites. They have to show that here again is the slave roots again. Conversations about Columbus. Interesting, Columbus' diary says one thing, but his message to the Queen says another thing. So two different things. He was excited when he was writing in his diary, but when he got to the king, the Queen of England, when he got to Europe, then to Spain, he made another determination. He basically said that they look like Native Americans, not Muslim. I won't go into that. So I just want to, I think basically I want to close with asking my opponents, just having an off-the-cuff conversation with y'all, just between us, because we family. And I love my brother Sharif. It's not the point. And I love the Prophet Muhammad. And I love all of our prophets. Elijah Muhammad, right? All of them. Matthew Whitworth, right? All of our prophets, we love them. That doesn't mean that they were right. But we love them because they did the best thing that they could at the time that they had with us. And we give honors, high honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We're just saying it when the world is eating African food, eating our resources. In order for us to get together and unify, we have to get rid of some of these separations. So I'm going to close right now by just saying, Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! You going to fight for Africa? Yes. Watch this again. Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power! They're not fighting for Africa.
Huh? You got 4 more minutes. Go ahead. Anything else you want to point out? You sure? All right, let's give it up for Brother Reggie.
I can talk. Y'all can hear me, right?
Islam.
You know what the Kansas City Shuffle is?
Islam.
That's for the camera.
Fake left and go right.
Islam.
That's camera order.
That's what the Kansas City Shuffle is. When you fake left and go right. I respect all the information that he put up there about genetics and phenotype. I respect it. We heard it a few weeks ago with Brother Polite.
Islam. You hear it now?
I respect it. But what in the world has that got to do with what we call Key 14? Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. Let's go back. What is your nationality? Stop. We don't even need to answer. Let's talk about the question. See, Reggie's whole first demonstration demonstrated clearly that he does not know enough about the topics to effectively debate them. How are you talking about race when he himself said identity is the issue? I agree. No identity, no purpose. Identity and purpose go hand in hand. Shout out to my brother in the corner who taught me that. We'll get back to him later. But then he starts talking about something that has nothing to do with the topic, which is identity, and specifically, are we Moorish Americans or not? That is a nationality, it's not a race. Know the difference. Show of hands, real quick. Show of hands. How many of you ever, okay, show of hands. I like the silence. Everybody's on the edge of their seat, right? Are there what you may call black Puerto Ricans? Oh, nobody wants to raise their hand. Okay, now, how many of you, I think y'all see where I'm going, don't you? How many of you have ever said, wow, that sister was beautiful, she was mixed Puerto Rican and black? See, we don't even have to address the scholarship half the time. All we got to do is address the psychology. If we had, how many of you got children? Show of hands. I'm not calling Reggie my child. How many of you got children? How many times have they asked you a particular question and you could see the intent behind the words? And then you respond to the intent and they think you're a psychic. Asymmetrical warfare, meaning what? I really don't have a position particularly. In particular, claiming to represent Nile Valley in numerous videos, but abandoning Nile Valley community in this debate. I'm sorry, I gotta tell it. We negotiated or renegotiated and renegotiated the terms of the debate at least 3 times. The last time we did, he took Nile Valley off the table. He says, I don't want to have to defend a connection between Nile Valley and our people here in America. It's okay. It's okay, because we're going to show you. No longer will it be ambiguous. We're going to show you. I don't need to go through all the rest of it. I mean, you know, you see the other one, overly dramatic. The ad hominem demonstration, shout out to my Hebrew Israelite brothers. We are joined at the hip. Believe it or not. Do we fight? Yeah, we fight, but we brothers, and we know that. We know that. We know that. Let's move. What we're going to prove today, are we Moorish Americans? See, a lot of what I have to say about Reggie's first presentation, I got to do in the rebuttal. Like, I took like 2 pages of notes. We'll deal with a lot of that in the rebuttal, but a lot of it will be dealt with in my presentation. This is what we're going to prove today to you all. Black or African American is not a proper identifier for men and women in society. In your living room or in your shower, sure. The color code system of race is pseudo and has no basis in science, as it was invented by Europeans for the purpose of white supremacy. Black, according to science, does mean death. How many of y'all are scared to die for your liberation? How many? How many of you believe? Hold on, the brother said, hold on. The brother said we were wrong about origins, about the origins of our people. And my elder sitting right there, my assistant grand sheikess, Sister S. Hopkins Bay, it must have been, I'm telling you, all thoughts are one, because we looked at each other and had the exact same thought. What is the before I go there, dealing with thought. If we are to be who we say we are and shake off the shackles of mental slavery, we got to stop thinking like the European. Fact number 1 about that. The European told you that science and religion don't go together. Truth is but one. If you believe, and this is with all due respect to my elders as well, but if you believe that one has to be wrong for the other to be right, then maybe you don't know either one. What is the first sentence in our religious text in the Moorish Science Temple of America regarding our origins? Time, okay, yes sir. First sentence, time never was when man was not. Get off that, oh, we had a beginning. Nonsense. Man is not the body or the soul. That's ancient Kemet teaching. Let's go. The true ancient Kemet connection comes only through the Moors. Let me speed through this. I got a lot of stuff today. The transatlantic slave trade, there we go. The transatlantic slave trade was specifically targeted Moors. The Moorish identity is ours and was our very last self-identity before slavery. The Moors in antiquity were recognized in ancient Kemet. Islam, just like Moorish identity, is another stolen legacy. How many of you are familiar with Dr. Ben? Yes. Let's give him a round of applause. That's why one of our brothers
Okay, sorry. That's one of our brother's teachers, right? On numerous videos, he claimed Dr. Ben as one of his teachers. How many are familiar with our brother Chancellor Williams? Let's give him a hand. How many of you are familiar with Dr. John Henry Clark? These are three of our good brother Reggie's teachers, mentors, references. We're going to use those three primarily to prove these points. Round two is the Black City Sovereignty Plan, better for our people than Noble Ali's plan. Notice that it says at the bottom, a gift for Reggie. We're going to put wheels on this Black City Sovereignty Plan and make it roll. Word is bomb. Brother talked about the scientific method, right? All right, this is science. What type of science? Sociology. This is what shapes society that you live in. This goes. Black. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Is that a definition or a non-definition? Thank you. White. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, North Africa, or the Middle East. Show of hands. How many of you believe, as our brother Reggie, that race, as you know it in society, is genetic? Don't be scared. Put your hand up if you believe it. Praise the Lord. Let's go. Thank you, brother. I'm going to ask the question again. How many of you believe that the concept of race as understood and practiced in this society is based on genetics? Let's go. This was the American Anthropological Association's response to Federal Directive 15. It said Federal Directive 15 in itself noted the absence of scientific or anthropological foundations in its formulation. In other words, it admits it's not scientific. The racial and ethnic categories set forth in the standards should not be interpreted as being primarily biological or genetic in reference. What did that do to his entire chemistry? Let's go. Bring it out. Knowing the history of these groups, of how these groups became white, we're talking about, oh, how does that happen? How does that happen? How did the Italians become white and the Irish become white? I thought y'all said it was genetic. That's right. This is an integral part of how race and ethnicity are conceptualized in contemporary America. The aggregated category of white begs scrutiny. The American system of categorizing groups of people on the basis of race and ethnicity developed initially by a then-dominant white European descendant population and served as a means to distinguish and control other non-white populations in various ways. That's what you're working with today. This is the scientific analysis. Where's Brother Reggie? Science. This is the scientific analysis. The American Anthropological Association in 1997 stated that during the past 50 years, race has been scientifically proven to not be a real natural phenomenon. More specific, social categories such as ethnicity and ethnic group are more salient for scientific purposes and have fewer of the negative racist connotations for which the concept of race was developed. Do you understand what that means? Nah, I'm going to make it real simple in a second. I'm going to make it simple in a second. Beat this. Such an interpretation, while perhaps statistically robust, is structurally and substantively incomplete because it is not the individual's association with a particular racial or ethnic group that predicts the various outcomes, but the attribution of that relationship by others that underlies these outcomes. For instance, a person is not more likely to be denied a mortgage because he or she is black, but because another person believes he or she is black and ascribes particular behaviors with that racial or ethnic category. Meaning, you can call yourself what you want. That's your prerogative. But permission doesn't mean power. I can call myself a cab right now. Am I a cab? No, sir. Cab power.
Racism. Defined as a social system that provides for manifestation of the construct of racial superiority and inferiority in all areas of society. What that means, people, very simple. If you subscribe to that system, you support it. And we stop right there. That's right. The color code system of racism was designed by Europeans specifically to facilitate the very thing you crying about.
That is. That's right.
If you subscribe to the system, you support it. If you advocate for that system, Brother Reggie, if you advocate for it, you work in support of the success of that system. It's just that simple. We don't know what false flagging is. You come from the street, I come from the street. We know what false flagging is, don't we? We know what happens to them, too.
Yes, sir.
You know what that means, real simple? Under somebody else's system. Who saw The Wiz? Our brother Michael Jackson. Remember the song he sung?
You can't win.
You can't win, you can't get even, and you can't get out the game. As long as you're playing the color code game, there is a permanent social upper class. It's called what? Say it.
That's right.
There is a permanent underclass. It's called what? Black. That's what it's called. I'm sorry, we all know it.
Islam.
So if you call yourself white,
Bring it out, Mo.
you are a white supremacist.
That's right.
If you call yourself black in this society, you are a white supremacist. Let's go. Now we're about to find out Reggie's bosses, his handlers.
Come on, Mo. Come on.
Who knows who that guy is?
Okay.
Blumenbach, yes sir.
Race man.
German anthropologists is one of the first to explore the studies of mankind. Y'all see it, I ain't gotta read it all, we got a lot. We got a lot. Strap up and tighten the shin straps. It's going down.
It's that.
1779, interesting date, right?
Yes, sir.
And it comes up with these five racial constructs. Blumenbach propagated the degenerative hypothesis of racial origins. That the original humans were Caucasian or white, and that all the other races developed as a result of environmentally induced degeneration. Now listen to this guy. How many of you guys know about this guy? Well, this guy was a special kind of European. Arthur de Gobineau. He is considered the father of modern racial demography. In other words, the very thing that many of us erroneously, a lot of times we just don't know.
Yes, sir.
The very thing that we erroneously are supporting, he's the father of it. Credited for developing the Aryan master race theory in his book Essay on the Inequality of Human Races. He said a whole thing, but I want to go down to the last one. Believed European civilization represented the most successful progression of ancient civilization and held the most superior attributes capable for continued survival. He thought this corresponded to the ancient Indo-European culture, Aryan, which included Celts, Slavs, and Germans. Look at that. His ideology was eagerly adopted by who? Nazis. Let's go. The color code caste system of race, according to science, is a myth. It's a lie. But hold on. This is when a lie creates reality. It takes people to believe in the lie to create a reality out of the lie. The investment of the public in that system creates the reality of racism or white supremacy. The preaching and support of that system by its agents ensures its survival and also protects the privileged position. Predetermined social qualities are attached to the racial... I want you to pay close attention to this.
Take your time.
Predetermined social qualities are attached to the racial classifications, which automatically label the individual carrying the racial designation. If I got a red rag hanging in my pocket, you guys know what time it is. That which is understood need not be explained. You know what comes with it. Okay. Okay. I.e., what is that? Always the, okay, yeah. In society, a good black person is always the what? The exception. In this society, a bad white person is always what?
Black too.
He's the exception. The color code system of race is invisible to the, pay attention to this. The color code system of race is invisible to the privileged position. In other words, it's invisible to so-called white people. Why? Because the privileged position is considered the norm.
That's right.
And everybody else is considered other than normal. That's why they say, well, when I see you, I don't see color. Last one, it represents a position of power where the power holder defines the categories. This one is going to hurt people. Strap in. Whiteness defines blackness. It's all the same system, and they invented it.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
Afrocentrism, and mind you, hold on, before we go any further, we honor our elders.
Yes, sir. Islam.
All of them.
Islam.
Whether you agree with them or not, if they weren't here, you wouldn't be here. If they didn't put that work in, you wouldn't be here. This is in no way a slight on those that went before us. This is us doing our best and me doing my best to tell the truth.
Islam. That's right.
Afrocentrism is a cultural ideology and worldview largely limited to the United States as a what? Response to global Eurocentric Orientalist attitudes about African people and their historic contributions. It is a reactive and therapeutic mechanism to whiteness. Where's Sonnet at?
I'm right here.
Yes, sir, bro. Remember when I was on your couch? I know you not, bro. Remember when I was on your couch and we started the interview? And our brother Sonetta said, he said, yeah, well, they call themselves white, so we call ourselves black. I said, brother, I'm so glad you said that, because that proves my point conclusively. It's reactionary.
Yes, sir.
Meaning it's a rear guard action. I gotta wait for that dude to say something so I can say I'm the opposite of it. A reactive and therapeutic mechanism to whiteness, that because it utilizes the racial categorizations invented by the power brokers of the color code system of race. It exists and operates within the scope of whiteness. It seeks to redefine or redefinition of the permanent categories of the color code system. Yet because it operates within that same system, it is defined by the system, and it will always lack the power needed to self-define or redefine. This ideology colors and taints not only Brother Reggie's scholarship, but many of our scholarship. Remember I said, if we can, it's important to look at the scholarship, it's even deeper to look at the psychology that produces it. Another one of his bosses. Charles Seligman, responsible for the mainstreaming of the Hamitic hypothesis. How many of you heard of the Hamitic hypothesis? Real simply put, when Europeans went into North Africa, the very place that Federal Directive 15 says are Caucasians, they mean you, figure that one out. When they went into North Africa and saw the greatness of our people in North Africa, they said, these Negroes couldn't have possibly done that. They couldn't have possibly done that. We have to come up with something. We have to come up with something that explains it in a way that benefits us and benefits the age of discovery, or the doctrine of discovery. We'll talk about that later too. Forwarded in the mid-19th century by European writers in support of colonialism and imperialism to solve the problem of being forced to admit high civilization in ancient times achieved by Negroid people. The hypothesis basically labels Hamites and North Africans as dark-skinned whites, pastoral Europeans, or Euro-Africans. Separate and distinct from Negroes and Bushmen. Current research totally debunks this hypothesis. However, it remains the basis of the present ethno-racial designation of North Africans as white in America. How many of you know some of our brothers from the African continent? How many of them identify with the word black? How many of them, if you ask them, tell you when they came through immigration and naturalization, they were told that they were what? White. But I thought some of you all believed that it had to do with genetics. So what does that mean? There's a whole bunch of people that are super dark with frizzy hair, but they're white in America. The Moors didn't say that.
That's right.
The Europeans. I just want to point that out. It is the origin of the myth. Hold on, what's written? It's the origin of the myth of the term Asiatic denoting a racially mixed or pale people from the north and limits our people to sub-Saharan African descent only. The foundation of the myth that Arabia and its people are separate from Africa and its people. This is the foundation for that fallacy. This is
Islam,
like Arabia is distinct or separate from Africa because of an artificial ditch, as our brother Wesley Muhammad called it, the Suez Canal. Y'all know who this guy is? Actually, I admire this European right here. I admire this one. Melville Herskovitz, American anthropologist whose work firmly established African and African American studies in American academia.
Come on.
Founded the first interdisciplinary American program in African studies at Northwestern University. You guys see it. You guys see it. You guys see it. All right, now let's talk about this. Let's go. Science, the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. So when we say black according to science means death, everybody asks this question, what science? I was here in this very same room 3 years ago doing a lecture with our brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad. I explained it in exquisite detail. Yet everybody still wants to keep asking me the same question. Hopefully we lay it to rest right now. First, let's analyze the wording. It says black according to science means death. It doesn't say is death. Now, of course, some people are going to be like, oh, you're playing semantics. Okay, follow me. Just indulge me. Means to have as its sense of signification, to signify. Synonyms denote, indicate, import, imply, or connote. Like red means what? Stop. Yellow means caution. Green means gold. It doesn't say is death, it says it means death. Let's go. Sociology. That is the science that we just went through. That's the science. Come on, shit. The study of the development, structure, and functioning of human society. The biggest things we cry and complain about today, and rightfully so, is a substandard quality of life. How in the world do we not know this science right here? Our prophet gave it to us though in 1913.
That's right. Islam.
Truth is but what? I don't care if you call it religion, science, I don't care what you call it. Alright. Red, warmth, love, anger, danger, you guys see it. We all can think. That's sociology. What's the significance though? Here's the significance. Our prophet taught us, according to all true and divine records, there is no Negro, black, and colored people in the human family. They don't exist. Why? Because of context. We don't have a problem with the word black at all. At all. I'm going to quote Dr. John Henry Clark on that. He said, we don't have a problem with the word black. No problem at all. It just doesn't tell you who you are. That's what he said. In other words, context. No civilized people on the planet other than us call ourselves or try to identify ourselves with an adjective.
Man, come on, you in there.
None. Cornelia Singer, Near Eastern historian, expert on the history and archaeology of Bronze Age Egypt. You see her credentials. She wrote this. Color in ancient Egypt. Man, it's quiet again. I love it. You take it, bro. Black in ancient Egypt was created from carbon compounds such as soot, ground charcoal, or burnt animal bones. Black was a symbol of death and of the night. Osiris, the sovereign of the afterlife, is called the Black One, alluding not only to his role in the underworld, but also to its resurrection after he was murdered. See, we don't say, we say black coincides means death, but we also say there's a holy ministry in death. See, but when you're going to quote our doctrine, you learn it. Come to the meeting.
That's right, quote it right.
Come to the meeting, sit down and learn.
That's right.
Please start talking about what you don't know.
That's right.
One of the
Come on,
sis. Come on. Talking to sisters right here. We got a rap for you. And a picture. One of the few real-life people to be deified. One of the few real-life people to be deified. Queen Ahmose Nefertari was the patroness of the necropolis, and she was usually portrayed with black skin. The black images of the queen embodied the concept of regeneration as the fertile ancestress of the royal line of the 18th dynasty. Anubis, the god of embalmment, was shown as a black jackal or dog, even though real jackals' dogs are typically brown. Now, here we go. As black symbolized death, it was also a natural symbol of the underworld or resurrection. Unexpectedly, perhaps, it could also be a symbol of fertility and even life. We say that.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
and
sir.
upon these pliant substances, Allah breathed.
Come on, Mo.
Does he breathe on the chaos of the deep when the worlds are formed and life springs forth from death?
Come on, Mo.
The total form is changed to form divine. That's religion. It's also science.
Islam. Islam.
That's right.
All right.
You better work. You better
The
work.
association with life and fertility is likely due to the abundance provided by the dark black silt of the annually flooding Nile. And keep going. On the other hand, black is associated with chaos and enemies. So the men to the south of Egypt, Nubians, were depicted with black skin. Nevertheless, the rest of the foreigners, as the people to the north and west of Egypt, were depicted by yellow skin, symbol of caution and danger. I didn't say it. I didn't look it up. A licensed Egyptologist did.
Islam.
Wow, you serious?
You working, Mo.
Take your time.
Take your time, brother. Eat that plate.
Law. I'm gonna skip. We got two more items. Oh my God. We got law. We got
Give him something, Mo. Give him something.
15 minutes.
Islam.
Hand out the fence.
That's right. Islam.
Okay, I'll play that later. Yolo spoke with the polite when he was in Egypt. I ain't got to show it. Black, according to science, is not an identifier of people. It's not a nationality or national identity. It's not recognized by any civilized people in the world. It's a badge or label of social, economic, and political servitude. It separates a people so labeled from society at large and thus respect from the same. Ain't that describing our condition today? But notice I use the word describe because that's what black is. It's an adjective. It describes. It doesn't identify. Describes the condition of our people. Describes a stage in the process of purification, salvation, and evolution.
Come on, Mo.
When are we going to come up out of it? When are we going to come up out of it? Describes a stage within the grand cycle of life itself and describes a stage in the regeneration and rebirth of a nation. That's what it does. Black can't identify, it can only describe. Let's go.
Come on, Mo.
Dr. John.
There you go.
I wouldn't even know how to play a video. You would have to do it from there? Brother, don't worry. No, forget it. We'll skip it. Everybody's seen the video, I'm sure, right? Dr. John Anael-Bey? Play it again? See if we can get it up there.
Come on, Mo.
See if we can get it up there.
You better work, Mo.
You all know I got like 65 slides for you all. I'm not going to even get through them all.
Islam.
Let's play it. No. Go under. Put the mouse under the screen. Put the mouse under the screen. Right under the video. Go up. Right there.
Here we go. Turn it up.
Turn it up.
Take it back.
Get the mic.
Pause the time.
Stop the time, Mo.
Y'all all right?
Stop that time. Stop that
Y'all all right?
Kung Fu fighting right now.
Brother, don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it. As you were, we'll play it later. Let's go. Dr. Ben, the one point I want to bring up rightfully rejects the notion of white Semitic North Africa in antiquity, but wrongfully equates Semites with Europeans and Caucasians. Why? We already discussed how that happened, because he's using the same definitions from the imperialist Europeans. Afro-Semitic presence in the Nile Valley is now, of course, indisputable. Shout out to Dana Marnici, shout out to Professor Rudolph T. Ware. You're going to see they work in a second. Arab defined, people. A member of the Semitic people of the Arabian Peninsula. A member of an Arabic-speaking people. That's right. Semitic defined, relating to or denoting a family of languages that include Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic, as well as ancient languages such as Phoenician and Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family. Whoa. Those are original Arabians. So when we say the key to civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nation, in other words, why in the world would we put so much time and energy to attribute something to a usurper of your culture? To a usurper of your culture. That is the original Arabian versus the Arabized Arabian. Original.
Come on, Mo.
Arabized. Let's go. The brother said that Dr. Bey was his teacher. Cultural genocide in the Black and African Studies curriculum. I didn't say he did. Certainly the African American children's hero that led their African ancestors, who? Into Iberia was none other than the illustrious General Tariq. What does Dr. Ben say right there? He says that your ancestors were the Moors. I didn't say it. Dr. Ben said it.
That's right.
And the need for a black Bible. 1506 CE with Reverend later on Bishop Bartholomew de las Casas and Pope Julius II of the Roman Catholic Church. The latter two initiated the infamous slave trade of Africans called what? From Spain. Africans called what? From Spain to the island of Hispaniola, today Santo Domingo and Haiti, following the loss of their power over the Iberian Peninsula in 1485. Dr. Ben says the ancestors of the African American are Moors.
That's right.
Dr. Ben said. The original Berbers and Moors were black Africans who spread from East Africa to Libya to Northwest Africa in the prehistoric ages. The prehistoric ages. These people were the founders of various cultures with relics, litter caves in the Sahara Desert. They have continuously occupied, they have continuously occupied the Central Sahara for more than what? 40,000 years. Dr. Ben said that. Wow. What was this about Moors in antiquity?
That's right.
Alright. African Moors' extensive knowledge of ancient Egypt was due to their constant cultural exchange with their indigenous African brothers of what? Egypt. Through their caliphates. Our brother George G.M. James. Now, our brother Reggie honors brother George G.M. James. But brother George G.M. James, I don't think I'll be able to get to his slide. Brother George G.M. James in his book Stolen Legacy does not say that Moors plagiarized Kemet. He says that the Moors are the Kemetic people. On more than one occasion when there were exoduses due to the conquering of ancient Egypt, they sojourned into Arabia, Asia Minor, and North Africa. They are the ancient Kemetic people. So there is a direct connection between our people in America and the people of ancient Kemet. You're looking at it.
Islam.
Dr. Chancellor Williams. It's a little difficult reading. I'll read it. Third paragraph down. Now again, just who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. What did that do to his whole presentation about Moors being mixed breeds? As amalgamation became more and more widespread over the only the Berbers, Arabs, and colors. And colors in the Moroccan territories were called Moors. That came later. While the darkest and black-skinned Africans were called Blackamoors. Eventually, black was dropped from Blackamoor. In North Africa and Morocco in particular, all Muslim Arabs, mixed breeds, and Berbers are readily regarded as Moors. Pay attention to this last sentence. The African blacks. Now mind you, before I even go any further, don't think that we, as Moorish Americans, are so arrogant that we do not identify with the black experience.
That's right.
We do. It's wrong to say.
Yes, sir.
I just want to let that be known. The African blacks, having had even this name taken from them, must contend for recognition as Moors. Dana Reynolds, Juanichi. These are incredible works. Just look at the titles. Addendum to the African Heritage and Ethnohistory of the Moors, the Golden Age of the Moor. Fear of Blackness, recovering from the hidden ethnogenesis of early African and Afro-Asiatic peoples, comprising the Moors of North Africa and Spain. One minute. Praise the Lord. The African Heritage and Ethnohistory of the Moors. Let's go. Oh my goodness, we're not going to be able to get through all of this. Suffice it to be said, Dr. Dana Marnici, and also too, Professor Rudolph T. Ware, both affirmed that the original Moors were dark-skinned, or what we would say dark-eyed, complected people, and are our direct ancestors. They, as our elders would love us to do, as I want my children to do. I want them to stand on my shoulders and correct my faults. That's how they give me honor. Dr. Ben, Africans were involved in Islam's creation. We're talking about the African origins of Islam. Dr. Ben said Africans were involved in Islam's creation, as his modern administrators attempt to eliminate its indigenous African founders from the eyes of the faithful and the world in general. In other words, they co-opted it, like they co-opted hip-hop, like they co-opted rock and roll, they co-opted Islam too. We look real crazy, sorry to say, we look real crazy, looking at another man with our coat on and saying it's not our coat. Islam. Since the Afrocentrists have fought so long to protect the African contribution to the civilization of Egypt, why not protect the total contribution, or total cultural contribution that Africa has made to Arabia? That's ours too.
That's right.
In the morning of the world, when the fingers of love swept aside the curtains of time, our dusky mother Ethiopia held the stage. It was she who ruled civilization and gave birth to nations. Her spirit called to Arabia, and out of the mystic desert surged the black soldiers of Islam who welded the world into a new empire and sang of love and victory in the vales of Andalusia. Judaism and Islam. Judaism and Islam both had indigenous Africans in the leadership roles from the first day of their recorded origin. In Kush, Islam had Muhammad, whose grandfather was African origin, and his close advisor and co-founder of Islam, an African from Ethiopia. Islam's foundation is so intensely African in structure. Islam, with her God, Allah, cannot escape its indigenous African origin. It was the Africans and others of African ancestry who were most instrumental in Islam's creation. Brother, did you really study with Dr. Ben?
Bring it out, Mo. You better bring it out.
Julian Baldwin, you might want to get this book. We have already seen how central aspects of Islam, such as pilgrimage, circumcision, and sacrifice. Whoops, sorry. Oh man, see, look what I got for you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Are essentially Afro-Asiatic. What we must consider here is the Afro-Asiatic bipolarity of the religion itself. What Julian Baldwin is saying basically is that the bipolarity in the theology is purely African. In other words, you have to dig deep. When you look at the principles of the thing, you can see the signature of your forefather. Right. How much more time I got? 2 minutes?
You teach him, Mo.
The murder of the third, Muhammad's grandson Hussein, is commemorated on the 10th day of the first month of the year with self-flagellation. This is all pre-Islamic. No, let me stop that. Pre-Muhammad.
That's right. That's right.
Pre-Muhammad. With self-flagellation and self-incision resembling what was done in the ancient Middle East for Attis and Osiris. Check out to Dion. Oh man.
Come on.
Next. You already know. The 8th century Moors were the recipients and custodians of the ancient authentic tradition that was and is the mysteries of Egypt.
That's right.
And became so from a number of avenues much later. During the Persian, Greek, and Roman invasions of Egypt, large numbers of Egyptians sojourned to Arabia, Asia Minor, and North Africa, where the teachings of their mysteries greatly enhanced the already present ancient Egyptian teaching of the descendants of the ancient Moabites in Mauritania or North Africa. The Moors of the 8th century, as the neighbors of and safe haven for the Egyptians, were also in fact the custodians and the ambassadors of African culture that the known world at the time looked to for enlightenment. Further, the Moors established caliphates in Baghdad, Cordova, and Cairo, thus maintaining a constant contact with Egypt, Europe, and Asia Minor simultaneously. What that meant at that time was that they controlled the known civilized world.
Wow. It's you?
Man, we'll deal with this part during the rebuttal. This is where it gets nice. Peace.
You know better than to test the more. You done chose Reggie fate, now you can rest assured. We gon' teach them to love instead of hate. More we uplift and educate. You wanna debate, y'all pathetic. Everybody wanna be comedic. Steady shaka up, most anyone can get it. It's real down here and be more, let's make it clear. I'm learning to love instead of